Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the June 27th, 2019 regular meeting of the Kern County Planning Commission. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ashley?
Here.
Commissioner Judge? Commissioner McGiffney? Commissioner Skidmore? Here. Commissioner Sprague?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Ms. Simon? Here.
Thank you very much. Second item on our agenda is commission member announcements or reports.
None for me.
Seeing none, we'll move on.
Mr. Chairman, I have an announcement, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we have to your right two staff members. I would just like to note that Ms. Danielle Montebias, you've seen her many times. However, this time you are seeing her for the first time in her capacity as a supervising planner. So she was recently promoted. You will see her much more at these agenda items, and I just wanted to make sure that your commission was aware of her promotion, as you will see her more often at these meetings.
Thank you very much. Mr. Murphy, welcome, Ms. Montalbas. Happy to see you again. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the June 13th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have an motion and a second. Please say aye to cast your
Aye.
vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is cases withdrawn or requests for continuance. I see none. So then we'll move right into the consent items agenda. Mr. Murphy, will you cover this, please?
I will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So these are items scheduled before your commission, which are being recommended for approval by staff, and the applicant has been informed of any special condition and has no objection. The hearing on these items may be expedited if no member of the commission or audience wishes to comment or ask any questions on the case. This evening, we have 4 cases that are on the consent calendar. The first item is case number 2. This is track 7310. Our applicant is Ernie Moreau by LAV Pinnacle Engineering. This project's located on the southeast corner of Hageman Road and Rudd Avenue in the western Rosedale area. The request before your commission this evening is vesting tentative track map 7310, map number 101. This is proposing to divide a 20.11 acre site into 21 lots, ranging in size from 22,032 square feet net to 23,248 square feet net for residential use. The project also includes a 23,201 square foot net sump lot. The application also includes a 2.50 acre drill island. The project is also requesting a waiver of signatures of mineral rights owners in accordance with section 18.15.030K of the Kern County zoning ordinance. Your commission is familiar with this case, as we had much discussion on the item yesterday. I would just like to note, for your benefit and for the members of the audience, staff has revised our recommendations in the conditions that have been provided to you. Staff is recommending a 40-foot easement be dedicated. However, within those conditions, we've specified that only 24 feet of that easement will actually be built with a road. It will include curved curbs. However, there will not be any sidewalks. We've included specific conditions that specify that the crash gate itself can only be can't be any greater than 26 feet wide. The project applicant has indicated that they're going to be working with the community members to come up with the appropriate design for this crash gate. We have no concerns provided regarding this approach from the Kern County Fire Department. The remaining portion of the easement, the 40-foot easement, will be to the 2 property owners that will be that will have that on their property, and they are allowed to landscape it. However, it does need to be kept free, and they won't be able to include any structures or things along those lines. I personally met with the community, and I believe that everyone is on board with this recommendation, is happy with this compromise, and therefore it is on the consent calendar, and staff is recommending it stays that way. The recommendation is to approve vesting tentative track map number 7310, subject to the recommended conditions, approve the request for waiver of signatures of mineral rights owners, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. The next item on consent is case number 3. This is SPA 89, map 101, zone change case 195, map 101. Our applicant is Floyd Hinesley, Robert Mahan, and Ryan Fisher by Porter and Associates. The request before your commission this evening is to amend the land use, open space, and conservation element of the Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan from map code UER to map codes SR on approximately 33.33 acres, from RR to SR on approximately 5.19 acres, and from RR to UER on approximately 4.81 acres, or a more restrictive map code designation. This project also includes a change in zone classification from A1 to E1 half on approximately 13.27 acres, from A1 to E1 quarter on approximately 34.32 acres, and from A1 to DI, the drilling island, on approximately 2.5 acres or a more restrictive district. I would note that your commission did receive an addendum staff report on this project. The reason for this addendum staff report is that staff does have a revised recommendation. It is customary on zone changes that if they are going to authorize the implementation of more intense residential development, that the zoning actually be placed in suspense pending recordation of a tract map. So the change is staff is recommending some additional language within the recommendation just to ensure that should this project ultimately be approved, that the zoning would remain in suspense until the tract map has recorded. So the recommendation, the revised recommendation before your commission this evening is to advise the Planning Commission to recommend to the Board of Supervisors to approve the specific plan amendment as requested, approve the zone change as requested to become effective upon the recordation of the final subdivision map, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the revised attached draft resolution. The next item on consent is case number 5. This is conditional use permit number 65, map 10334. Our applicant is Javier Fambona by JR Design Group. This project's located at 2915 Edison Highway within the Bakersfield area. The request before your commission is a conditional use permit to allow an 8-unit apartment complex with an associated improvements in a C2 district. I would note that your commission also received an addendum staff report on this particular project. Subsequent to the distribution of the staff report, we did receive some additional comments. One of those comments from the Kern County Public Works Department required a revision to our condition. The existing structures that are already built on that site that have been in place since the 40s encroach in the requested dedication that the county was originally asking. Therefore, staff has revised those conditions and requiring only a 45-foot dedication. That way, the existing buildings would not have to be removed. The Public Works Department believes that that is still appropriate to ensure overall flow of traffic, and staff has recommended some revisions. Based on those revisions to conditions, which have been provided in your addendum staff report, we do have a revised recommendation. The recommendation before your commission is now to approve the conditional use permit in accordance with the recommended revised conditions and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached revised draft resolution. And finally, the last case on consent this evening is case number 6. This is zone change number 82, map 124. We do have a typo in this. Our applicant is Javier Riviera by Pedro Pedrosia. This project is located on the southwest corner of Westfield Avenue and South Fairfax Road in the Bakersfield area. This project is a change in zone classification from A to E2 1/2 RSPE, or a more restrictive district. Your commission also received an addendum on this project. Subsequent to distribution of the staff report, staff received a number of comment letters. Most of those comment letters identified specific recommendations to be included in the tentative parcel map that will be processed at a later date. Because the action before your commission is a zone change only, staff cannot incorporate any of those conditions at this time. However, we felt it was important that we provided them to your commission for potential future consideration, as if this is approved, a tentative parcel map may come before your commission in the future. Therefore, the recommendation has not changed. The staff recommendation is to advise the Planning Commission to recommend to the Board of Supervisors to approve the zone change as requested and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. That completes the reading of the consent calendar tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. So does anyone in the audience or on the commission wish to pull either of these items from the consent calendar?
I'd like to ask one question.
Okay, please come to the podium, state your name for the record, please, and spell your last name.
I'm Jim Frimodig, Frimodig, with Source Energy, and we have the minerals leased through West Coast Land Service underneath the first 2 projects. And the only question I had was, we intend to drill a well on the drill islands on both of the projects, and we were wondering that if there was any the zone changes would cause any additional restrictions on our development activities other than those that are normally associated with drill islands?
I don't believe that's the case, but I'll have Mr. Murphy answer that if you don't mind.
Mr. Chairman, sure, I would be happy to. Again, the items before your commission for these projects, well, let me start with this way. In terms of a well, any well drilled in Kern County is subject to the Kern County zoning ordinance, chapter 19.98, which is our oil and gas chapter. Within that, it specifies what your permit you have to go through in terms of going through a conformity review, a minor activity review, depending on the type of request. Any changes to the underlying zone classifications would not alter the process by which you would have to go through in terms of being subject to this particular ordinance. So the standards would be the same, the process would be the same that you would be required to go to whether those zone changes took effect or whether they were not take effect.
Thank you.
So other than that question, I didn't see anybody wishing to pull either of these cases from the consent calendar. Is that still the case? Okay. Certainly entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed these 4 cases and think it's appropriate on the consent agenda, so I would make a motion to approve items 2 and 3, 5 and 6 as read into the record with any amendments by staff.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Three ayes, 2 absent, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Mr. Murphy, will you read the notice of right to appeal for these particular cases, please?
I will, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. For projects where the Planning Commission action is final, those actions are subject to appeal to the Board of Supervisors by any interested person, and no development proposed by any application may be authorized until after the final date of appeal. For case number 5, an appeal may be filed with the Kern County Planning Department located at 2700 M Street, Suite 100 in Bakersfield, with a filing fee of $540 on forms available at the Planning and Natural Resources Department. The filing must be made within 14 days of and including the date of this hearing. For case number 2, which is a tract map, the appeal must be filed within 10 days from the date of decision of the Planning Commission. Any such appeal must also be accompanied by an appeal fee of $540. If no appeal is received, the action of the Planning Commission is final.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. So next on the agenda is our public presentations. This portion of the agenda is reserved for persons desiring to address the commission on any matter not on the agenda and over which the commission has jurisdiction. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record before making your presentation. Do we have any such presentations? Yes, ma'am?
For the Round Mountain Road, for the wedding event.
So we will hear that case in just a second. So seeing none, we will actually move on to the public hearing portion. We'll start with case number 1. Mr. Murphy, we cover that one, please.
Case number 1, Mr. Chairman, I believe is going to be
continue.
presented by
Sorry about
Ms.
that.
Anjanette Simon.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Ashley and Commissioners. The project before your commission this evening was originally scheduled to be heard on May 23rd, 2019. However, due to staffing changes, the proposal was continued to tonight's hearing. The proposal is a conditional use permit to continue to allow a no-kill dog rescue facility for a maximum of 75 dogs per zoning ordinance section 19.14.030.k in an A1 MH limited agricultural mobile home combining district on a 5-acre parcel located at 8440 Woodland Lane in Mojave. Surrounding parcels are sparsely developed with similar-sized dwellings and zoning with single-family residences. The project site is currently developed with Halfway to Home, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Amenities and structures on site include a single-wide and a double-wide mobile home and office where the property owner lives. There are covered parking spaces, buildings used for storage, 1 workshop, a restroom, several fenced yards with shelters for indoor and outdoor yard access for dogs, exercise yards, sheltered individual kennels to house dogs, and a block building with 4 indoor-outdoor kennels to house dogs required for any temporary quarantine. There are numerous approvals and extensive history on this site. Initially, on June 23rd, 2005, the Planning Commission approved conditional use permit number 27, map number 214, which allowed the applicant to operate a rescue facility for up to 10 dogs. The applicant expanded their operation in regards to the number of dogs on the facilities without prior land use approval after that date, and in May of 2011, the applicant attended a violation hearing and subsequently submitted an application for a modification to expand the established conditional use permit. On September 22nd in 2011, the Planning Commission approved the modification of the expansion of the conditional use permit to increase the number of dogs from 10 to 75 for a period of 3 years, with an expiration date of September 9, 2014, at which time the applicant could apply to continue the operations. On December 12th, 2017, the applicant applied to continue operating the rescue facility. However, the application was not received prior to the aforementioned expiration date, and therefore the applicant has attended a violation hearing on March 15th, 2018 to allow the application proceedings for the new conditional use permit that your commission is now considering tonight. During the course of the processing of this request, staff notified surrounding property owners within 1,000 feet of the project site, affected agencies, and county departments. As of this writing, staff has received a total of 5 comment letters, one of which is the subject of your addendum that your commission has been distributed tonight. 2 of the comments were from county agencies stating they had no comments. The remaining 3 were from Glennon Byron and Phyllis with the Family Trust, Michael Valencia, and Barbara Hoffman, whose letter is attached to your addendum distributed to your commission this evening. These letters were in opposition of the project and raised the following concerns: noise level from barking, animal care and quality, training, property values and quality of life, and fluctuating dog population. With this in mind, staff had consulted with Julie Sugg, Senior Animal Control Officer of Kern County Animal Control Services Department, to confirm the condition of the operation. Ms. Sugg informed staff she conducts announced and unannounced inspections to ensure the health and safety of the rescued dogs by the facility. Through her inspections since 2010, it has been confirmed that the facility is kept clean and and has been kept within the required 75 dog limit. The operation plan is in place with animal control, and which is reviewed at each inspection to confirm the cleanliness of the facility, animal intake procedures, appropriate documentations and vaccinations of the dogs, waste removal, odor control, nuisance control, and a contingency evacuation plan to protect any future of the dogs. Additionally, Ms. Sugg has notified staff that their department has neither previously or currently received any formal complaints about the rescue operation, and had commended the applicant on the maintenance of the facility and the care provided to the dogs at the facility. In regards to the noise levels, animal control has regulations in place to control nuisance situations, including a recommended condition 5J in your staff report and draft resolution this evening, to regulate any excessive noise complaints. The reason for the fluctuating dog population is because adoptions take place off-site on the weekends, and therefore there will be times when there are more or less dogs on the site. I believe there should be a representative from Animal Control in the attendance this evening if your commission has any questions regarding the site or the proposal. It should also be noted that if any formal complaints are filed in regards to the conditions of approval not being continuously complied, an investigation would be conducted and a possible revocation of the CUP could be imposed. The implementation of the proposed rescue and sanctuary of the animal facility is a permissible use in the A1 district upon approval of a conditional use permit, and the applicant has been approved previously for a conditional use permit for the exact proposal before your commission. In addition, the applicant remains in good standing with Animal Control Division and by continuing to comply with conditions and requirements with animal control. Staff believes that, as conditioned, the applicant will conform and confirm the currently comply with the original and additional recommended conditions for the approval, and as such will be obtaining all building permits as necessary, current licenses and vaccinations, animal safety, proper shelter and food, and overall animal wellness for the successful adoptions, and this is just a continuously comply condition. Therefore, staff is recommending your condition approve the conditional use permit on a permanent basis, subject to the recommendations of conditions of approval. Thank you. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Is the project proponent here?
Yes.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record, please.
Yeah, Chris Babcock, B-A-B-C-O-C-K, representing Suzanne Buth, and Halfway to Home. We do agree with all the conditions that are placed on this application. I was pleased to see that it was read into the record that this is a permanent CUP on this property going forward, so there will be no need to come back and re-up again. A little history on Halfway to Home. Since 2004, they have placed 7,000 dogs in homes, which took quite a bit of burden off of the county system. I have personally visited the site, found it to be just pristine. They have 25 employees that look after the facility, and I would appreciate your vote tonight to approve this, and so these folks can get, I do have one thing I'd like to have everyone stand and be recognized that's in support of this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
And I'd be
Babcock.
happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
I read in here there are no existing complaints with animal control. Do you know anything about the operation of this? Has there been any formal complaints in writing?
From
against-
animal control?
From animal control?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Babcock.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Babcock. Anyone else who would love to speak on this project? Well, you don't have to love it. You could just like it too, I suppose. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing piece. Comments, questions?
Well, I've read the application. I'm familiar with the development there with the 75 dogs. It seems to have worked well. Their placement of dogs in homes in excess of 7,000 dogs is, they're to be commended on doing that and saving animal life. I reviewed the whole report, all the letters that came in for and against the project, and I'm prepared to make a motion on it unless there's other commissioners that would make a motion. So, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve item 1 as read into the record by staff with any amendments or conditions additional.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
3 ayes, 2 absent, motion carries.
So the next item on our agenda is,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Tonight's action was final, so I do need to read the appeal process just for
appeal.
anybody
Okay. Sorry about
that
that.
may or may not be in attendance. Again, for projects where the planning commission action is final, those actions are subject to appeal to the Board of Supervisors by any interested person, and no development proposed by any application may be authorized until after the final date of appeal. Again, the appeal may be filed at the Kern County Planning Department, located at 2700 M Street, Suite 100 in Bakersfield, with a filing fee of $540 on forms that we have available at the department. The filing must be made within 14 days of and including the date of this hearing and include a filing fee of $540. If no appeal is received, the action of the Planning Commission is considered final.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, for keeping me straight. Okay, now we move on to case number 4. Would you cover that case for us, please?
I believe Ms. Danielle Monsabias will be covering that case this evening.
Excellent. First one.
Good evening, Chairman Ashley and Commissioners. The project before your commission tonight is a request from Meredith Carter to approve a modification to conditional use permit number 6, map number 82-36, to allow permanent entitlement for a commercial wedding facility. Conditional use permit number 6 allowed a commercial outdoor wedding facility for a 5-year period of time. The wedding facility takes place on the westernmost parcel and accommodates up to 250 people. The facility includes a 3,100 square foot home that has 4 bedrooms. 1 room is utilized as a home office, while 2 rooms and 2 bathrooms are available to the bridal party. There is also a barn, saloon, cigar bar, and a reception area that the client can utilize throughout the wedding. All food, beverages, catering, disc jockeys, portable restrooms, and rentals are arranged through the facility. Event rentals can be delivered, stages, picked up, and/or serviced as early as the Thursday before an event and are removed by the Monday following the event. All events have parking attendants, security, 10 to 13 staff members, and an event coordinator, a decibel reader to record sound readings at various locations on site. The entrance and exit are located on the easternmost parcel, and parcel 2 and 3 is used for parking. Prior to each event, signs are placed in the approved designated locations in order to alert drivers of the event and event parking. These signs remain in place till the event is concluded. During the course of processing this request, surrounding property owners within 1,000 feet of the site were notified, as well as affected agencies and county departments. Staff received 5 comment letters from local agencies and county departments. Staff notes most of the comments included in the original conditions of approval. However, staff has updated the recommended conditions of approval in order for the applicant to confirm and/or comply. However, staff did receive a comment letter from a surrounding property owner with the following comments. The surrounding residential development has an increase of traffic and traffic control signs due to the events taking place on the weekends and believes this distracts from their property and property value, as well as the concern to do with alcohol being on site. Staff addressed these comments within the staff report. However, would like to note the traffic control signs are required by the original conditions of approval in order to alert drivers, as well as alcohol cannot be served after 10 p.m. and all sales and consumption of alcohol beverages shall be in accordance with all state and county regulations and requirements. There is an existing commercial operation in close proximity to the project site, which is Gerdine Ski Ranch LLC, that operates a ski lake and an overnight camping. Subsequent to tonight's hearing, staff determined that clarification of recommended condition 5A was needed to be revised in order to remove a portion of this condition. Staff notes that condition addressed the use of a public address system and amplified sound system, compliance that is needed. The specific requirements that are unnecessary include submittal of reports for noise complaints. Because there have been no formal complaints regarding noise, staff is recommending deletion of this portion for this condition. However, should noise become an issue, there is always the potential to revoke this permit. Staff continues to believe the site is suitable for a wedding facility given its operation of the property since June 2013 with no formal record of complaints with either the Kern County Code Compliance or the Kern County Sheriff's Department, and recommends your commission approve modification of conditional use permit number 6, map number 8236, subject to the revised conditions, and adopt the revised resolution as read into the record by staff. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Albus. Ms. Albus.
Mr. Chairman, if you,
Sure.
just so that everyone is clear, The condition in which Ms. Monsiváis is referring to is on page 5 of your resolution.
Yes.
That's condition 5A. And what staff is proposing is that, beginning on the second paragraph, where it starts to ensure compliance, from there, all the way through the rest of that condition, staff does not believe is necessary at this time. That condition was originally written that way. It was specified that if there were some concerns, that the next 3 events would have reports that were prepared. Given the fact that this operator has operated for 5 consecutive years, we believe that we have the understanding in terms of how to deal with different noise concerns, and then therefore staff did not believe that that portion of the condition was necessary. However, the first part of the condition still remains on as required, which specified the time and the type of music and things along those lines in terms of when they could operate.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Chairman, I see that Mr. Maxwell from the Roads Department with the county is in the audience, and I would like to ask him a question regarding the road conditions out there.
Okay.
Mr. Maxwell, have you got time to come to the podium? State your name for the record as you need to for the public.
Warren Maxwell.
Mr. Maxwell, I remember this project when it came through, conditional use permits got approved and et cetera, and it was a long drawn-out hearing regarding the application and what was being applied for its use, and all the conversation that was pursuant to that was about noise, and was basically about roads, ingress, egress, access, and public safety. Has the road department evaluated in 5 years what condition the road is in now, and with that many cars coming in and out of weddings, how it's affected that roadway going by this piece of property?
We have not evaluated the condition of the road with respect to the wedding. This is an intermittent use, so it's not something that's a daily use where it would require that kind of analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't believe that the traffic impacts would be detrimental to the roadway or the condition of the road at this time, or even throughout the use of this CUP.
Yeah, well, I know that the road is in disrepair. I'm just wondering, if we're having events out there and other places along that roadway on CUPs or in particular zoning approvals, how the road condition is going to be affected more than it is already? And is there some vehicle to where the property owners that are having these events can actually pay into the repairs, or pay the county or private sector to fix potholes and stuff like that on the roadways affecting the frontage of their properties?
Yeah, I don't believe we have a mechanism in place to take care of that so that they can start paying for that. I do believe we have a new project coming through that's going to address the condition of Round Mountain Road. And so I don't know the timeline for it, but I have seen some plans where they are proposing to do some things. We've already just put some shoulders and things like that, guardrail. And so we are in the process of trying to improve it.
Well, that's great news. I hope we get it done before you retire in December.
Oh, boy.
But thank you for your testimony and for explaining that to me
You're
and the dais. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. Is the project proponent in the audience, and would you like to speak on your project? Okay.
You got one out here.
Oh, sorry about that. So do we have anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, please come forward and state your name for the record, please, and spell your last name.
Excuse me, sorry, Chairman Ashley. I don't believe the project proponent understood that they can come up to speak on the project. Is there somebody here?
Okay,
This is your time to come on.
yes. Please come forward and state your name for the record.
My name's John Haddad, Haddad. And I just want to kind of go over, we've been doing it now, as you know, for over 6 years. And I know the county did their due diligence and checked this out. We've never had a DUI. We've never had an accident caused by the weddings. We take it very serious. We have Uber, we have people we drive people home. And as far as the alcohol, all the weddings don't have alcohol. And you know, we monitor, we have security. So we keep a good eye on it. And you know, most of them end by 10 p.m. and the music's never been a problem. We have a decimal reader, walks the whole property, the whole 10 acres. We're never over, I think the highest we've been is 54. And I know we're legally allowed to go 64. There's just never been any problems. And as far as the traffic, I don't really see any damage. I know there's a few potholes, but I think those are caused by the big 18-wheelers. There's a lot of oil work up there. Ours are passenger cars. They're, you know, not so heavy. But as far as any problems, we've never had any problems. It's a first-class operation. It's just beautiful. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddad. Ma'am, please come forward and state your name for the record, please.
I'm Gloria Melliti, Melliti. I did write a letter. My concern is, yes, for the first 3-4 years, yeah, they didn't have a lot of stuff going on there. They weren't doing a lot of events. But now the events have increased, along with the traffic and the alcohol and the drinking. And they don't just have wedding. You had wedding event permits, is what I understood, for certain times and certain months. That's not true. They are advertising for corporate events and all kinds of events, and I did bring a copy of that. I Googled it, and they are doing more than what they have a permit for. So they're not monitoring that closely. 2 weeks ago, they had a big corporate, it had to be a corporate because it didn't look like a wedding in the middle of the week. So they're not following their permit, if that's what you guys are telling me. So I was really displeased when I heard that they were going to be able to continue this. And like I said, they didn't have a lot at first. We agree. We don't hear the noise. We really don't. That's honest. But the increase of all of this has been not acceptable to us. I would like to ask for a hold on this so that we could get time to talk more to the police department, because we have lots of accidents out there. There's glass everywhere. I don't think the Haddocks realize how much these people are creating a problem and a concern for us. I go to pick up my grandson every Saturday night around 10:30, and I'm following the drunks. And my boyfriend leaves about that time too each night, around 10 to 10:30, and he also is encountering these drunks all over the road. So what they're saying isn't what we see as people that live there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Malloy. Any other comments? Okay, we'll close the public presentation portion of the hearing. Commissioners?
Can staff touch on the corporate event versus wedding specific requirement?
Commissioner Skidmore through the chair. The condition reads that the authorization is for outdoor commercial wedding facility. So any use that would have to be associated with some sort of wedding facility. I'm not aware of any differences or anything else in terms of other types of events that have been held on the facility. But the condition as it reads now specifies that the permit authorize a commercial outdoor wedding facility.
So that does not include any other type of events outside of wedding specific, correct?
I would say that is correct. There are a couple different determinations we use when it comes to different types of facilities along these lines. Our zoning ordinance does not specify specifically wedding event, things along those lines. So sometimes we use an determination of similar use where we specify an event venue, which gives a little bit more leeway. When we don't identify it that way, when we specify the condition, where we say, hey, we're having a wedding facility or commercial wedding facility, then those are what the applicant is limited to. If they are requesting to have other types of similar uses or corporate events similar to a wedding facility, those are things that could happen, but those requests would need to be in the language in the condition, as staff has interpreted it when it comes to event venues over the course and throughout Kern County in general.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Murphy, in regards to other activities there besides weddings, I am aware that there's other activities that go on out there, and it's a beautiful facility. So I'm wondering how it could be arranged to where that being used for weddings only in the application could be altered so that it would allow more corporate-type parties or political parties and things like that. I don't think we can do it in this application tonight because it's not in the application. It says specific uses for weddings. But I'm still unclear as to the definition of the use on this piece of property. If it says weddings, then it means only weddings, but the county may have a different interpretation of an event. So how do you determine that? Who makes that determination?
Commissioner Sprague through the chair. So the easiest way to do that is to make sure that the conditions are clear. A condition could read, this permit authorized commercial outdoor wedding facility and other similar events such as corporate events or other uses as deemed appropriate by planning director. Those can be written into various conditions. I would actually refer to council as to if that type of condition could be monitored or changed today, or if in fact a re-advertisement would specifically be required to include those language based on a hearing notice. That I would leave to council in terms of legally the hearing notice. But if you want to be sure, and for the benefit of the applicant, for the benefit of the public, the easiest way to make sure that we're clear is to make sure that the condition specifies that.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. I think that clarifies it, and that makes it a whole lot simpler, and it gives clarity to the use that's there. Mr. Hall, do you have comments regarding that? Can we actually make that addition tonight?
I don't think you can, Commissioner, through the chair. A wedding facility is a very ambiguous term, I guess I will say, but it's what that says right now. The applicant hasn't asked for these corporate events. I think somebody could say a corporate event, which you consider presentation and dining is essentially the same as a wedding for all intents and purposes. But as they haven't asked for it, it hasn't been advertised as that, I would suggest that we not make that change today.
So could they come in with an amendment to the CUP at a later date, as far as the applicant goes, to put that before us to add a paragraph in there to clarify?
Commissioner Sprague, through the chair, yes, they could. Absolutely could come with an amendment later.
Okay. And Mr. Murphy, would that be a long drawn-out event just to get clarity to that particular clause of use in the CUP?
Commissioner Sprague, it would require submittal of applications, things along those lines. The other option is that your commission could recommend a continuance and direct staff to re-advertise, to include those types of language in terms of the proposal. I would recommend that you contact, or you ask the applicant if that's something that they were interested in, as maybe they are not, but that is the other option, is that instead of taking action tonight, you could continue and direct staff to re-advertise or to contact and work with the applicant to determine if that is something in fact they want to incorporate into this request. And then again, staff would then re-advertise that so that that type of condition could be considered by your commission at a later date.
Mr. Chairman, could we hear from the applicant?
I think we should. Mr. Haddad, would you mind coming back up, please?
Mr. Haddad, you want to spell your name for the record again?
Haddad.
Okay, would you rather continue this and make an application for an amendment so that that the events that are carried on and should be carried on there, along with just explaining the use of the piece of property other than weddings, adding that to that paragraph so that it's clear to everybody, the public and the people that live out there, as to what's there.
Okay.
We could continue it, bring it back, or you could go and make an application for amendment to the CUP and add that verbiage to the CUP. It would be your choice.
Okay, maybe continue, would that be the best way? I mean, come back and,
Well, I just, to me, along with the other commissioner, Ms. Skidmore, I think having clarity
okay,
is the best way to explain what's in front of us
Okay.
under the CUP that's in print. I think it would be wise to come back with an application to just add the verbiage to the present application or the present CUP.
okay,
And that way, there's no questions. And
Okay.
it's nice and clean and easy to do. It takes a little more time because we've got to continue the process. So it would be your choice as to,
okay, would we have a couple wedding, in a couple of months, we have more weddings, would it? you
doesn't
think we-
affect the weddings
Yeah,
because that's
okay.
what it
All right,
says.
Yeah, absolutely then. We would
But
like
as
to do
far
that.
as other activities like, political parties and,
Okay,
corporate gatherings and things like that, it doesn't really say this. It's kind of,
okay,
could be interpreted to be within the clause of the ordinance, but it's not spelled out. I like to see things plain and clear.
okay, we'll do
So
that.
I'm giving you the opportunity of we just continue it, add the language to the CUP that allows for the corporate parties that you want to have out there.
Okay,
And hopefully that resolves the clarity of the issue.
okay, yeah, we'd like to do that.
So can I ask Mr. Murphy a question?
Of
Mr.
course.
York? Mr. Murphy, could we just do that, and is it a process that he has to just get a representative or come by himself and make an addition request to the CUP?
Commissioner Sprague, through the chair, what my recommendation would be then for your commission, based on what I have heard so far, is your recommendation should be that you recommend this project be continued to July 25th hearing and direct staff to coordinate with the project applicant to determine any potential changes to the type of events held at the facility and make appropriate re-advertisements as necessary.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to continue this to July the 25th and let staff work with the applicant to see if they can come up with appropriate language to clarify the content of the CUP.
Okay, we have a motion for continuance to the 25th of July with some amendments as per the applicant's request.
Okay,
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
3 ayes, 2 absent, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.